I'm Eric McClendon. Three young men decide their fortunes lie in a high-end retro bakery cafe. They have $175,000, their life savings, and they're willing to risk it all on a dream. But with limited funds, they decide they have to look outside of pricey Manhattan. So they head over the bridge to Red Hook, Brooklyn. Soon they find themselves putting everything they have into an abandoned building, into a risky business in an even riskier area.
People just are so excited for desserts. It's amazing.
Matt Lewis and Renato Poliofito met while working together in advertising.
I realized I wasn't really that happy, so I decided that maybe this wasn't the career for me. And I had always wanted to open up a coffee shop for a really long time. And I said, well, you know, you only have one life.
At the same time, Matt is already involved in the food business as co-owner of New York City's chocolate bar. After 3 years, he wanted to do more baking and less chocolate. He was ready to branch out.
I wanted to be in the kitchen a little bit. I wanted to keep my hands into like the cake mix and the cookie batter and the brownies.
He said, would you like to, you know, open up a coffee shop, a bakery as well? And I said, yeah, sure. You know, sign me up.
And so they agreed to join Renato's coffee shop idea to Matt's dream of a bakery, specializing in good old-fashioned desserts. The new company is called Baked.
So we have these retro desserts, pretty classic desserts, but we were adding a spin to them, something a little more modern, you know, just changing, tweaking the recipes a little to make them more suitable for modern tastes, retro reconfigured.
Among those reconfigured retro desserts are Red Hook Red Hot, icebox cake, peanut butter and banana tart, and bread pudding. They are building their dream in Red Hook, Brooklyn, an old immigrant neighborhood where compared to Manhattan, you can still get a great deal on rent.
It's amazing that New York hasn't built up their waterfront. The Statue of Liberty is right in front of you. I mean, and it is just unbelievable. And you look behind you, and there are these abandoned warehouses. I mean, I feel like Red Hook definitely is on the cusp of something. It could be on the cusp of something really great. But you know, that's you know, you take your gambles in a neighborhood like this.
The partners take over an abandoned space. The landlord gives them the first 3 months rent-free. Then they must pay $2,500 a month.
It used to be a church, from what I understand, and it didn't look anything like this when we came here a few months ago.
After looking at the space, Renato is skeptical, and Matt is downright horrified.
It was filled with hallways and corridors. It was really bizarre and a little spooky.
They feel they have no choice but to build their cafe from scratch, from the 100-year-old plumbing to the outdated wiring.
We just said, got it, just gut it out. You know, take everything out, and we'll start from scratch. And then it got even scarier looking.
Yeah, it did.
All that causes the cost to go up.
31, 2, 3.
The look they want is retro, just like their desserts. They hired builder Ken Reynolds and designer Sather Duke to bring their vision to life. 3 months after the project begins, the gutting is done and the equipment arrives.
This is going to be our bake shop, which is a bakery and a coffee shop put together. This is, I guess, where a lot of the magic will happen in terms of decorating and the fun part of the baking process.
They hope to open in just 2 weeks, which will still give them time to cash in on the holiday business.
I'll talk to Kim, but we could almost start placing this stuff.
But there's now a problem that will cause a delay. The partners are lacking city permits for electricity and plumbing construction. The plumbing is the most troublesome. It hasn't been touched in 60 years, and it isn't up to code. There's nothing they can do.
We should just kind of stop.
As of after all the kitchen equipment's in.
Like today, pretty much.
So you don't have any control, so you're just kind of waiting and hoping that someone looks at the paper, approves it, gets the decision, and that's it, you're done.
They've blown the 3 rent-free months, but managed to talk the landlord into allowing them to pay just $300 for the next month instead of the full $2,500, buying themselves a little more time. Construction costs are in line with the plan, so far. Yet the partners are frustrated. They don't know when it will end and how long the opening will be delayed.
The whole process is so stressful from beginning to end that you reach this plateau where you're just like, I can't stress out anymore.
Getting tied up in red tape is the last thing the three men can afford. The holidays are coming, and they desperately need to cash in on the season. But their pleas to speed up the process fall on deaf ears.
They're not in the business of giving you any kind of guarantees.
Matt, Renato, and Rafi sign a lease for a space in Red Hook, Brooklyn to open their dream business, a retro bakery called Baked. They catch a break from the landlord who gives them the first 3 months rent-free. They hope to be open in time to cash in on the holidays. But there are construction delays that no one can control, and it's left everyone on edge.
We watch the bank account do this every day.
Waiting for building permits is increasing everyone's stress, but the partners have a backup plan in place. Throughout construction, 2 employees, bakers Melanie Shrimpy and Kira Cannon, are at work in a rented kitchen space. Kira, who has been baking since she was 17, is in charge. She was a cook in the military. Later, she was a pastry chef at the Chocolate Bar, which is where she met Matt.
Our owner is pushing the brownies, all kinds of brownies in every shape, color, and whatever.
Melanie, who picked up a lot of her skills at New York's famous Magnolia Bakery, is Kira's assistant.
I am the finisher and cake icer.
The bakers are working in a rented space on wholesale orders.
The reason we are doing that is so that our wholesale accounts will keep the customers that we already have, and it will also help generate some cash.
The orders are for 900 brownie holiday gift boxes, which earn $6,000, enough money to cover their $2,500 rent and lost business costs for 2 months. The bakers also work on other recipes of an old-fashioned nature, which is one of their selling points. They're using ingredients that were popular with home bakers in the 1950s. For now, though, they concentrate on the specialty of the hour.
Brownies are going to take over the world, and
We're testing everything ahead of time so that when we do get into our space, we are completely 100% ready to open and make desserts.
Had we had no corporate orders, we would not even be here.
At the cafe, their designer, Sather Duke, is trying to stay excited about the renovation.
We're waiting on our gas and we're waiting on our electricity. Hopefully, if everything goes as planned, we will get these things, soon.
The opening of Baked has been delayed twice. With the electrical permits still pending, it will be delayed again, most likely until after the holidays. And the contractors and the city are still going back and forth on the plumbing permits. Waiting has thrown the schedule into chaos.
There's no guarantee. They're not in the business of giving you any kind of guarantees. It's somewhat like the cable company. They tell you that their cable company is going to be there between 12 and 6. Well, these guys tell you that they're going to be there between October and November.
But for construction manager Ken Reynolds, permits aren't the only reason for delays.
I'm trying to meet schedule demands, and I'm yelling for decisions, and I'm not getting decisions. People can't make up their minds.
One decision that works for both Ken and Sather is the tile.
This is just your standard subway tile. It's probably one of the most used tiles there is.
The least expensive tile available, but it works well with their retro look.
You have to grout tile. It doesn't matter what color it is, you have to grout it. So why not grout it orange? Why not change the color of it?
Getting the color right takes some time.
It can be a real pain sometimes.
Once we have that final permit, everything gets sealed up, locked in place, and then we can open.
The partners are now losing $5,000 a month in rent and lost business every month they aren't open. They suffer another setback when a 100-year-old problem refuses to be resolved.
I'm about to have a heart attack.
Corporate clients keep money flowing into the company, but it's not enough. The 3 owners have put everything they have into the business, but the 100-year-old plumbing keeps backing up the start date.
Fantastic.
Great, wonderful. Okay. We're done.
The partners are approaching 2 months past their first scheduled opening. The electrical permits, which took 2 months, and the plumbing permits, which took 4 months, have finally come in. Corporate accounts give Baked an income, $6,000, enough to cover their rent and operating expenses for 2 months. And now work can continue.
Now that we have our permit, it feels real. The sense of accomplishment feels even much more so. And I don't think we could be any happier than we are right now. We plan on opening end of this week or beginning of next week.
Yeah, go ahead.
The plans that have only been computer images are beginning to take shape. The bakers continue working in the rented kitchen on ideas for the planned Cake of the Month specials, testing recipes for a fresh coconut buttercream layer cake.
It's a yellow cake, very fluffy, with coconut pieces.
Rich, dark Valrhona chocolate goes into this tempting cake called the Diner Double Dark.
It's a nice dark chocolate cake with Valrhona chocolate buttercream.
And Kira adds her special touch with buttercream to make this carrot cake a cut above the rest.
We've got carrot, we've got candied ginger, we've got nuts. It's wonderful.
For once, things seem to be looking up.
Yeah, and then like for platters and whatnot, that's the fun stuff, and that's the stuff that we can't wait to do.
Will we need to cut a hole out up here?
But over in the kitchen, where the main plumbing issues are, there's a major problem.
Technically, he wants to see, the entire run.
To open, Baked only needs 2 ovens, but the plan originally called for 5 to accommodate both the retail and wholesale business. Thinking they were being farsighted, the partners installed pipes for all 5 ovens, capping the 3 extra lines for the time being. They don't know the law says that all pipes must connect to an oven. They also don't realize that the pipes themselves had to be inspected before the gas could be hooked up.
The concern at the moment is we have the head plumber guy here, and he's doing a kind of like a walkthrough as if he were an inspector.
This is a costly mistake. Not only have they capped the extra pipes, they've put drywall over them, which must be removed until the lines are okayed by the city inspectors. They don't know when the inspectors are coming, and replacing the wall will take time and money.
The timing of the whole inspection, and it's just going to be a little bit longer.
What is this due to the time frame? I mean, are we talking like after Christmas now, or are we talking...
Yeah. The gas, after Christmas for sure. It's December tomorrow.
In one conversation, the opening goes from next week to next month.
Yesterday we were so jubilant that we got our, everything was passed, and we were moving along quite smoothly, and it lasts a day, and then the next day you find out that it's going to be a few more weeks. We have to reposition ourselves. It changes our budget, I think, drastically, because the money we would have made for Christmas would have floated us through February, I'd say.
In the case of the plumbing, experience has been a costly teacher.
I mean, this is my first foray into it, and maybe, as you go along, you get better at it. You know what to do and who to talk to and the order of getting things done. But for a first timer, it's close to, about to have a heart attack.
A compromise is struck with the city inspectors. They'll let them remove the extra pipes instead of installing all 5 ovens. This means they can finally open 6 months from the beginning of the project and 3 months behind schedule.
We are about to open our doors for the first time to the public, and I feel a little, I'm excited and I'm nervous, and I'm hoping for the best. Today it feels real. Good morning.
Hi.
Come on in.
Wow, it's early.
And you're our first customer.
Oh, you're kidding.
Your very first customer.
Their dream is finally real.
Wow.
Welcome.
What an honor.
I'm Renato.
Beautiful. Hi, nice to meet you.
Up until yesterday, I was like, are we going to open?
Chocolate chip scones up.
I think that was our morning rush. This like washing over of just relief. It's like a giant sigh.
Not a lemon cake up.
But behind the smiles and excitement is a huge concern. With the delays, the extra time in the rented kitchen, and the salaries they paid to the bakers, the project went $30,000 over their original budget of $175,000, and customers are only trickling in.
Have a good day. And I think it just remains to be seen if this was a mistake. I mean, I'm hoping that it isn't, of course, because I've invested everything, and my time, my money, everything I have into this. So I want it to be ridiculously successful.
The last of the problems are now solved for Baked, but the 3 owners are now $30,000 over budget in the process. And given their location, they're not sure if they'll be able to overcome that loss.
There were times when I honestly thought this wasn't going to happen because you're dealing with a dream.
An abandoned church in Red Hook, Brooklyn is now a hip retro bakery. 3 months late and $30,000 over budget, Baked finally opens its doors. Will the strength of the sumptuous desserts and the allure of a beautiful bakery be enough to make Baked a success? It's been a long, hard road. Baked has been open for 1 month. After 7 months of delays, people are starting to find their way in.
There were times when I honestly thought this wasn't going to happen because, you know, first of all, you're dealing with a dream.
Where's your tip jar, man?
That's the thing. I tried to go run in the back and get one, but I forgot. So.
Good luck is right. This is what I want to see, stores like this.
That's the neighborhood folk I'd like to have come in.
Where the true Red Hook is here.
We're the original.
Born and raised
We're born here.
And we're in here supporting them.
Thank you very much. Enjoy. They know the neighborhood. They've lived it. They've done it. And you know, if they accept you, if those are the people that like you, then you're good.
The owners need all the cash they can get, and the stylish retro fashion line is selling.
I'm glad the apparel is selling. A lot of love went into that.
The retro look that took a big chunk out of what has ballooned into a $205,000 investment has come together, and finally the kitchen is fully operational. What Kira and Melanie do in there will ultimately make or break Baked.
Right here we have a favorite. It's our malted cake. Basically what this cake is, it's a yellow cake with malt and a milk chocolate buttercream with crushed malt balls in the center, and just topped with another milk chocolate buttercream. Kira, our baker, doesn't like doing very traditional things, so she will get a recipe that seems traditional and she'll add her own twist to it, and every time she does something, it's wildly successful.
The reaction from the customers is encouraging so far.
Thank you so much. I like the cheese scone, I think is what it's called.
What's really good here is the bread pudding.
Of course, the brownies. Everybody comes for the brownies.
Wow.
Here you go. Enjoy.
Thank you so much. Super moist, delicious.
It's really delicious.
A little bit of buzz. I mean, we don't want to, like, overstate it.
Head baker Kira Cannon receives a profile in the New York Times.
This is going to be a chocolate cake.
20 minutes on coffee cake. Just let them know, sorry.
Though things are slow in the first month, as expected, the owners are not discouraged.
There aren't words, actually. There aren't words to describe how I feel right now. It's exciting because, I mean, I've been waiting to do this for so long, so.
Would I do it again? I guess I would do it again, but maybe not without having everything in place 150%, not 110%.
And there will be a next time.
So good.
At least that's the plan. With weekly sales of $8,000 from corporate accounts and initial buzz, Baked hopes to break even a little over 1 year from the day they open their doors, if they can maintain their current sales numbers. The partners didn't give themselves an out if Baked falls flat. If that happens, it's back to the 9-to-5 grind, only this time with empty bank accounts. Will Baked bring these guys success? Only time will tell. I'm Eric McClendon. Thanks for watching. For more information, go to foodnetwork.com.